Hi, my lovelies, and welcome to my kitchen again. Today I'm actually going to make a healthy, homemade frozen yogurt with no sugar. We're going to use dates to sweeten it. But before I get into the recipe, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I enjoy hanging out in my kitchen. So basically, one of the things I realized is that stress is a huge factor in illnesses. It's the accumulation of stress over long periods of time. And in my books and in my work, I talk about fear and how fear was the driving force behind me getting sick in the first place. Fear is also a form of stress. And so I'm very conscious of just spending all my time, or as much of my time as possible, doing things that make me feel relaxed and that make me feel creative. I love doing creative things. And one of the creative things I enjoy, apart from cooking, is I enjoy making little videos with Danny. So together we kind of sit and we edit them together, or we come up with ideas for new videos or new YouTube lives. So these are creative outlets that I love. What's really good about the cooking, that's become kind of a new hobby. I've always cooked, but now I kind of do it more for fun, and I like to make up new ways of creating recipes and foods that I like to eat, but recreating them in a very healthy way. And so one of the reasons I love doing this is actually twofold. One is playing in my kitchen and engrossing myself in making things like this reduces stress. I forget about everything else that's going on in the world. And for me, stress also, it isn't my work. I love my work. A lot of it is just stuff that goes on in the world and taking on other people's energies. And so I go out there and I feel I've taken on people's energies. Then I come and I release it. I put music on, I put a candle on. All of that is going on in the background right now. There's music when I'm not on video. So I have calming music, I have candle, releases the stress, and then I get into creating. I create something. So the number one thing, the number one good purpose of doing this is it releases stress. But the number two good purpose for doing this is that when you are in a high energy state, that energy spreads. And if I am cooking or making something, whatever I'm making gets infused with this energy. So I'm actually putting a loving energy or a higher energy into the foods I'm making, which is why I love making foods and getting into this state. And I enjoy eating what I make. Danny and I, both of us, love playing in the kitchen. We love interacting in the kitchen. We work really well together in the kitchen. And so it's just one of our creative, fun, and playful outlets. So now let's get into my next recipe, which is a frozen yogurt. This homemade frozen yogurt is one of my favorite healthy sweet treats to make at home. And it's really simple. So I use about 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt. It has to be the full fat Greek yogurt, otherwise it doesn't come out creamy enough. I add about 2 ripe bananas, and what I did was I cut these bananas up and I put them in the freezer for a little bit. And then I'll add a teaspoon of cocoa powder, organic cocoa powder, and I add some vanilla paste. This is vanilla bean paste, but you can use vanilla essence, or it's optional. You don't even have to have the vanilla. But I like a little bit of vanilla paste for taste. I use 2 dates to sweeten it, and I've cut up the dates, and make sure the dates are pitted if you use dates. All I have to do is run this through the blender. You can use any commercial blender, like whether it's a Magic Bullet or a Vitamix or NutriBullet, any blender of your choice, and just get it super smooth and creamy. Now that it's blended, it'll be a little liquidy, but don't worry, don't panic. because we're going to put it in the freezer for 30 minutes. So I'm just going to pour it out into my cute little yogurt cups. I sometimes put some little berries on top. And then I'm actually going to cover this and put it in the freezer for about 30 minutes. So it's been 30 minutes. Let's see what we've got here. I just pulled this out of the freezer and we've got our frozen yogurt with the berries. And the texture is thick, not as thick and frothy like in the stores, but I can tell you it's yummy.